Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today we're going to be talking about Ethereum, going with the ticker ATER. We're going to dive through a bit of due diligence, technical analysis, and what I think about this one. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So Ethereum. This company here has multiple different products, including Squatty Potty, Home Labs, Miller Austria, Reme, Rift 6, Pure Steam, Paul Schmidt, and other brands as well. Now for this one here, there has been some recent developments that got the retail industry, at least, or retail field of the stock market to rally this one a little bit. So building brands up from the ground up. There's been more than 300 products launched for this one, around 14 brands in our portfolio, with total of more than 2,000 SKUs. So there is a bunch of different products that I did talk about that are listed on here. And also it does kind of give you a diversified portfolio of different products, whether it is from beauty products, home products, even things like kitchen products, which are still somewhat of home products. They also have different lookbooks and everything in between. In terms of recent events, well, they have one coming up in November 17th to November 18th, unless they actually created a time machine. This one will happen on November 17th. It's the 10th annual Roth Technology Conference. Now, today we received some news. Ethereum reaches agreement with lender to pay down its term loan debt. So the company makes material progress in reducing the container shipping cost. They announced today that it has reached an agreement with its lender, High Trail, to pay down its outstanding secured term debt in an aggregate principal amount of $66.3 million, plus accrued of unpaid interest, which the amount will be paid in shares of the company's common stock in accordance with the term of the notes, evidencing such debt. The remaining $25 million of the loan debt will be maturing in April 2023, and all financial covenants have been restructured. And basically they said, I'm excited to share with the shareholders that Ethereum has reached an agreement with its lender to satisfy the majority of its outstanding term debt and has made material progress in reducing its container shipping costs thanks to the support of various strategic shipment partners. There are two important steps that we expect to strengthen our balance sheets and cash flow going forward and allow Ethereum to create a capital structure optimized for growing profitability in 2022, said the CEO. Despite the remaining risk of unprecedented COVID-related disruptions, we now see a clearer path to continuing our M&A strategy. We're more optimistic than ever on the other side of this global supply chain crisis, and we will be well positioned to execute on the vision of building the leading consumer products platform. Now, in here, Ethereum launched its shareholder perks program as well. That was back on August 30th, 2021, and basically, this is the second quarter 2021 results, and we're going to be taking a look into some of the highlights on here. So they announced it back on announced it back on August 9th, but it's still every bit as relevant to understand the fundamentals of this company. So first off, they have a net revenue that grew 14% year over year to $68.2 million compared to $59.8 million in second quarter of 2020. Gross margins improved to 48% compared to 46.2% year over year, and operating income improved to $4.5 million, which includes $23.3 million of benefits from change in fair value of earn-out liabilities, compared to an operating loss of $1.8 million in the second quarter of 2020. Now, the contribution margin declined to 8.3% in quarter 2 2021 from 16.8% in the second quarter 2020. So far, so good. Operating expenses for the second quarter of 2021 were $28.3 million, which is a decrease from $29.4 million in the second quarter of 2020. And the operating expenses for quarter 2021 includes $23.3 million of benefits from change in fair value of earn-out liabilities. And excluding non-cash stock-based compensation and amortization of intangibles of $6.5 million compared to $5.2 million. And most importantly is the last four bullet points. The net loss of $36.3 million, and this includes $23.3 million of benefits again from change in fair value of earn-out liabilities, and a $29.8 million loss from extinguishables of debt or extinguishers of debt, and a $4.4 million loss from change in fair value of warrants, and a $1.9 million loss charge associated with the derivative liability from our term loan, increased from a net loss of $2.9 million in the second quarter of 2020. So quite a significant amount difference on here. Now, the adjusted EBITDA shows a loss of $3.7 million compared to a gain of $3.4 million year over year. So these two bullet points are actually they are more of a bad news of the direction of this company. But basically what we're seeing is this is kind of a temporary thing that happened this quarter out of different things with fair and value of debts, liabilities, warrants, and as well in terms of just general dynamics of COVID perhaps. But mainly it's the debts and the fair and value changes. 19 new products launched in the second quarter compared to 8 in the second quarter of 2020, and total cash at June 30th, 2021 decreased by $26.9 million from March 31st, 2021 to $61.9 million. So that's an increase on there, around $40 million or $35 million additional on there. Now, before moving on forward, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notifications on. Also, don't forget to drop a like to this video if you've actually enjoyed this video so far, and you can join me on my Discord server totally free in the description below, and we're not trying to sell you anything on there. Now, other things that we're talking about here, including exclusive shareholder perks, so you're able to get exclusive benefits, discounts, and early access to new products if that's something you're interested in. Now, careers, they are currently hiring 2 positions in the internal software development, and that's it, but it's basically senior software engineers and senior lead data scientists. Now, on other parts, when we take a look into institutional buyers, what we see is on the institutional buyers part of things, that Nationwide Mutual Fund appears to have some activity in shares that is not really disclosed yet, but others here you're able to see it's a little bit mixed. Bank of America increased their shares by 9 times, and currently have around 11,592 thousand shares. And Virtue Financials liquidated their entire position back in the second week of September, or almost going to the third week of September. And in general, there is some institutional backing towards this one, but not as significant as some other companies, but still significant enough to mention. I've seen a lot worse. Now, this one here, 9830 Markarth LLC, increased their shares by 1.5 million shares or thereabout at a share price of 7.71, and currently holding around a general amount of around 3.246 million shares. Now, this happened in the last couple of days or last couple of weeks, the 17th of September to be exact. Short interest and short volumes, so the short volumes onto this one appears to be around 50% of any given trading day. So that's 50% of the total volume. And currently on the short flow, it's reporting around 27.59% short float, which means that around 1/4 of all shares are being currently shorted on the short side, or the shares float side, my bad, and 50% of any given day is going towards the short volume. So let's move on towards technical analysis now. Now, from a technical analysis perspective, we have a bunch of things. Of course, the elephant in the room is that it dropped more than 25% today. To be specific, currently in this time of the video, around 27%. Now, this triggers a short sell rule restriction for today and the next trading day. And basically, the short sell rule basically restricts the short selling activity only to upticks, basically, or something of that sort. Now, in the trading action zone, which is between the 10 SMA and the 30 EMA, that's where most positive reversals occur. And that's between the 1266 and the 982 level. And currently, the price point is between then. And the 50 SMA is currently below the stock price, which is a bullish thing. And on the average directional index, which basically shows you momentum and everything in between in terms of strength of movements, is not showing much. But the William percent R, which is showing you something very similar to the relative strength index, as it being very close to being oversold, meaning there's a lot more selling activity than usual. And the MACD and momentum both are actually dipping downwards, suggesting that this one has probably until Friday or Monday to see kind of a bullish ticker. Otherwise, it might lose that momentum and strength it built. Nonetheless, we can take a look into the trend in a second, but stochastic fast and stochastic slow are both hinting on towards more of an accumulation rather than a strength in either direction. But the moving average bands are all kind of jumping upwards in almost in a takeoff fashion, and that usually indicates a strong movement overall. Now on the Fibonacci retracements, and I like to highlight this one before supports and resistances because high institutional buyers and basically high frequency traders use it. So $11 is the current support on here, $7.96 and $3.04, and the resistances are $13.46, $15.92, $19.42, and $23.88. But on a price line action, we're able to see that there is a very strong support at the $11.84. Below there, $11.03. Below there, $9.95. Going downwards to $9.04. And then downwards to $8.07. $7.32. And then downwards to $6.01. $5.27. $4.56. $3.95. And $3.04. Resistances going upwards to closer to around $13.12. Upwards to around $13.76. Critical one of $14.36. $15.28, and then upwards to $16.66, going upwards to $18.05, $18.99, around $20.20, and then upwards higher to $21.32. Now, the trend we were talking about could be associated, if we were to take a look, let's say 1 month to our perspective, and try to draw a trend line upwards. And this is kind of what the trend line is mostly going to look at. And the bottom of this trend line is sitting above the $10 around $10.71. If it does break this trend line, we're pretty much in trouble, as it would suggest that we've broken this bullish upward trend. But basically, it has this bottom trend line that is going upwards, suggesting a bullish price action as we move forward. Now, one last thing is the analyst coverages. Currently, the average price target is sitting at $7.88 with a strong buy in the last 3 months. That's 3 buy and 1 holds, which is around 35% downside from where we're at right now. Coming into the question to Ed, what do you think is going to happen here? As long as it stays above this price line, or basically above this trend line, I do anticipate a bullish price line action in general. It's going to have high volatility as it goes forward because when a stock has retail attention, that does appear to happen. Now, this stock did actually mention a big chunk of their debt being paid off through dilution, basically. And that is usually both positive and negative. Positive is lowering debt, negative is dilution. So it kind of usually cancels each other out. But there's a lot of attention for this one, all the way from $3 to around $20. So be very careful. But basically, if you want to buy this one, and the closer you are from this trend line, the safer you are into this bullish action. Currently, it's around $1.50 above this trend line. So just be careful onto there because it's very likely to touch this again. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Try to subscribe and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.